Florence Klein was sent to a Nazi concentration camp when she was only 14 years old. However, despite all other members of her family being executed, she survived. Having witnessed terrible tragedy, including watching her own mother walk into a gas chamber, she remained positive. Living in Tiret Carmel, Israel, she gave birth to her one and only son, Chaim Weitz. Chaim Weitz grew up to be none other than Kiss guitarist Gene Simmons, whose cultural influence as a musician has stretched worldwide. Florence Klein and Gene Simmons are among many of the fascinating people from Israel. Others include actress Natalie Portman, actress Gal Gadot, Jesus Christ, and King Solomon. Now, during this presentation, we will look at the very historically rich country of Israel. We will take a look specifically at Israel's geography, cuisines and foodways, languages, religion, and military. An overview of Israel's geography. Israel is geographically located in the Middle East, between Egypt to the west and Jordan to the east. Israel shares its northern borders with Syria and Lebanon. Israel also shares its borders with the Mediterranean Sea and further coastline with the Dead Sea to the east, for a total of 170 miles of coastline. Israel's total area is roughly 8,020 square miles. This makes it only slightly larger than the state of New Jersey. The lowest point in the country is the Dead Sea, at 1,414 feet below sea level, which is actually the lowest land level anywhere in the world. The highest point in the country is Mount Mernon, at 3,900 feet above sea level. Cuisines and foodways. Israel uses 23.8% of its land for agricultural purposes. The country uses its 23.8% of agricultural land to produce $2.2 billion in exports. It is the Jewish dietary laws, or kashrut, that greatly influence the foods and food practices of Israel's population. The Jewish dietary laws state which foods cannot be consumed and how certain foods must be prepared and eaten. The first rule is that one must not consume any blood. Now, this means that all meat must be washed and salted to remove any excess blood. In turn, this means that meats consumed in Israel have a higher salt flavoring than ones from other countries. Second, the Jewish dietary laws state that consumption of specific animals is forbidden. For example, only fish with fins and scales can be eaten. It is also stated that only land animals with split hooves are approved for consumption. The third and most important aspect of the Jewish dietary laws is the separation of milk and meats. It is mandatory that the consumer wait a short while after drinking milk before eating a meat product, and must wait even longer after consuming a meat product to drink milk. Ultimately, the Jewish dietary laws influence how kitchens operate. Restaurants will never serve milk and meat products together. Furthermore, they maintain different sets of cookware to ensure the milk and meat products remain separate. Language and dialect. The official language of Israel is Hebrew. Arabic is the second most spoken language and is generally used by the minority population, and English remains the most popular foreign language. The Hebrew language has very deep historical roots. The Hebrew language, origin dates back to very ancient times. Interestingly, the Hebrew language died off until the 19th and 20th centuries, when it became the official spoken language of Israel. Now, Hebrew has not remained entirely the same throughout the years. Obviously, it has changed and evolved with the times. In fact, in ancient Hebrew, there was no conception of past, present, and future. Instead, people used the word is, like something is happening, and is not yet, something has not happened yet. This change in language has led to Hebrew incorporating a more modern culture, in that it allows those to speak with a common perception of time, past, present, and future. Religion. The predominant religions of Israel include Jewish at 74.7%, Muslim at 17.7%, Christian at 2%, Druze at 1.6%, and other making up the remaining 4%. As you can see, with almost 75% of the population practicing Judaism, the Jewish dietary laws mentioned earlier govern a very significant percentage of the population of Israel. Israel's religious views have a very strong influence in the country. In fact, their religious views even influence government policy. For example, all Jews, regardless of physical location, can move to Israel and receive immediate citizenship, a policy that is unusual in the world today. However, with the heavy influence religion has on politics, there is naturally some disagreement on policy issues. For example, the more Orthodox Jews believe that public transport be completely shut down in the observance of the Sabbath, whereas the more secular Jews believe public transport should remain open. Along with religiously influenced policy, there is more conflict regarding law superiority. What I mean by this is that there is constant debate on whether the Jewish law or democratic law take priority. All in all, this makes for a culture with deep ties in its religion, both socially and politically. Israel has one of the most powerful military forces of the Middle East today. Military service is required for Jews at the age of 18 years old. The length of service for an enlistment ranges between 24 and 32 months, depending on your sex. I like to believe that there is a greater sense of national pride in Israel due to the mandatory military service. One might also say that the culture of Israel is more disciplined from the instilled militaristic traits gained and imprinted during military service. In conclusion, we started off the presentation with a few famous figures from Israel, both past and present. We touched briefly on the geographical location of Israel, located in the Middle East, next to the Mediterranean and Dead Seas, with a size that is roughly that of New Jersey. We also covered the foods and food practices of Israel, mainly the Jewish dietary laws, which prohibit the consumption of blood, certain animals, and the separation of milk and meat. We went on to discuss the language and dialect of Israel. This includes Hebrew, the official language of Israel, Arabic, and English, the most popular foreign language. We dove into the breakdown of religion in Israel, with the practice of Judaism being the majority. And finally, we looked at Israel's military, specifically what impact mandatory services had on their culture. All in all, Israel is a country seated deep in its religious roots, and this is evident in every aspect of its culture.